cek 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 cek. Aduh. Halo, cek cek cek. Halo halo. Halo, cek cek cek, sudah masuk nih. Cek cek cek. Halo halo. Oke. Sepertinya sudah masuk. Halo, MASKU semuanya. Selamat datang kembali di live kali ini ya. Dan kali ini seperti biasa kita lanjutkan lagi Genshin Impactnya ya.
Time to begin work.
Genshin Impactnya. Ayo kita lanjut lagi. Seperti biasa kita kelarkan dengan daily quest dulu ya. Bercerita. Oke. Junkichi seperti biasa ngobrol-ngobrol. Let's go. Oke MASKU, mantap sekali. Kita lanjut lagi seperti biasa nge-push. Aduh, batuk. Saya ini nggak bisa minum karena belum buka puasa, belum jam. Tuh, jauh banget ini, Junkichi. Oh, jauh. Junkichi. Oke. Halo MASKU. Thank you udah mampir ya. Jangan lupa like, share, dan subscribe ya MASKU ya. Thank you. Oke. Habis kita ngerjain quest, mungkin itu apa namanya? Kita apa itu namanya? Lanjutin story lagi. Kali ini rencananya adalah kelarin storynya deh ya. Belum update berikutnya. Karena di update berikutnya kita akan mendapatkan cerita dari Nahida ya. Di update berikutnya secepatnya kelarkan apa nih, story yang belum selesai. Nah, sini lagi. Oke. Nyangkut. Oke. Mungkin sama ini kita tes all item lagi lah ya. Aduh. Oh di sini. Oke.
Next on the agenda.
Masih banyak banget yang
Born of ice and frost.
Kalau bisa dapetin crit yang tinggi. Sayangnya all item yang gue punya crit rate-nya belum tinggi, jadi ya stealth aja sepertinya. Terus nyari artefak lagi dan nyari elemen material lagi sih. Weapon sama statusnya udah oke sih. Tinggal itu aja apa namanya, nyari crit rate-nya aja.
Next on the agenda. Emerge. Right here. Everyone hold hands.
Oke, dari reward bisa selesai. Kita langsung ke itu aja mentalnya. Masih ada nggak ya? Oh, ada. Mana? Dibutuhkan sekarang adalah buku tuh cash ya. Mungkin coba ngumpulin cash dulu deh. Kita ngumpulin cash secepatnya. Sekarang target berikutnya itu mungkin nabung ya. Coba dapetin misalnya semoga arah item beneran lagi. Gue mau coba ambil weapon yang mungkin weapon karakter lain dah. Coba
Emerge. Right here. Hey.
34 mudah. Ini 4 MASKU. Enak banget cuma dari 34 tinggi. Tribute friendship. Oke, sudah dapat Al-Hatab arrangement. Oke. Dan selesai. Saya udah tinggal ngecek yang dengar aja.
Right now. Right here. Right now. Everyone hold hands.
Scatter.
44 gile. Nice. 44 damage udah ketolong banget sih itu. 4 itu damage udah sangat ketolong. Tipan 44 nice banget itu, kenceng.
Right here.
Let's get down to business.
Right now. I see everything.
There's more.
All hail.
Finally, here you are. Whoa.
Everyone hold hands. Emerge. Right here.
Very.
Yeah.
Oke.
This.
Udah kan? Udah deh. Oke. Oke, good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Bapaknya masih starting up. Aduh. Oke. Lebih cepat masuk ke ininya apa namanya? Sumeru. Lanjut lagi ke Sumeru. Lebih cepat lebih baik. Langsung lanjut ke Sumeru saja. Langsung lanjut ke Sumeru. Oke. Treasures.
Add as. Thank you for
Oke.
Add Astra.
Dapat 60 primo lumayan. Oke. Aduh, pede-pede nggak ya bisa dapat weapon bintang 5 ya? Untuk Nahida. Agak kurang begitu pede sih. Soalnya gue pengen dapetin weapon lagi yang bintang yang bintang 5 untuk Nahida. Kira-kira dapet nggak ya? Dapetin mungkin harus spend, coba berani spend dulu sih. Kayak agak takut juga sebenarnya. Karavan ribet kan spotnya ya ding. Kita ke karavan ribet. Oke. Cepet ya update nih ya, kalau mereka ke 4.0 ya, cepet ya. Wah, bulan Juli atau Juni berarti perkiraan ya. Kan 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. Habis itu 3.9 nggak ada, langsung skip. Ya semoga nggak delay lagi lah intinya.
Hey, Dia, you're back.
Okay.
Are these two friends of yours? Likewise.
Okay.
And there's no need to be
Kita
so
lagi
formal with
story
us.
deh ya.
We're a pretty casual crew. Anyway, since we've got a newcomer, let me fill you in on what the Khan al-Akhmar's been up to lately. They've become extremely aggressive.
Berat ya.
Apparently, even their own now have become acceptable
Kok agak
targets.
ngelek dikit ya.
They even attack other relics
Kalau gua
brigades,
udah nggak kuat
just the
sih.
same as any other mercenary brigade.
Even the most ferocious beasts still protect their own. And it sounds like they've thrown that
Okay.
straight to the wind.
That's right. Once they've collected
Ay,
enough
boss, aman
loot
sih.
off the other mercenaries,
Ya, oke
they
lah,
sell it
semoga nggak
off to
terlalu
a
bentrok ya.
different brigade, or turn to merchants in
Tadi
the
Mas
black
Kuya kalau
market.
misalnya mau
A
ngecek,
portion of their profits is
silakan.
immediately
Tapi
exchanged
sorry
for
kalau
more
misalnya
food
suara
and
nggak
weaponry
terlalu
to be
kedengaran.
used in their next violent
Karena memang
operation.
sebenarnya ini lagi ngerekam
Yeah, and it
storynya
really makes
ya
you wonder why they're
Jadi
so desperate for
voice
more.
suara
A
di
few days
gamenya
ago,
sedikit
a
dikencengin,
shaman
jadi
and I
sorry kalau
trailed them for
misalnya
a
emang
while,
suara
and
voice
even
gue tidak terlalu
disguised
kedengaran.
ourselves as merchants to conduct trade with them. We were able to learn a few things
Ya,
from
jadi
the
seperti itulah.
exchange. Rather than saying they're out to plunder and hoard Mora, it'd probably be
Harun.
more accurate to say that they're experiencing an internal power struggle.
Wait, a power struggle?
You heard me right. The vast majority of their victims are mercenaries from the other brigades of Deshret's relics.
Brigade,
If their only goal was Mora, they could have gone after anybody. The targeted nature of their attacks points to a power struggle between the different brigades within the relics. That's the only plausible explanation we have. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find out anything more specific. It seems they're also trying to keep things under wraps. Oh, one last thing we discovered was that over the past few years, as the Khan al-Akhmar became more and more active, Deshret's relics as a whole became a lot weaker.
Sounds mighty strange to me too.
Genshin emang
Harun,
the best sih
you can
jujur.
leave the rest of the
Perfect
investigation to
Genshin.
us. Gotta
Mendingan
say
game-game
though,
yang lain,
I didn't expect
jujur
you to go on a
Genshin
whole
emang main
undercover
game-game sih.
mission during the few days I was gone. Sounds like you were really putting your necks on the line, no?
Ya semoga grafik
Nah,
di
it was
Honkai Star
nothing.
Rail
We're just as
Segini
concerned
lah
about the
standarnya.
situation as you are. The Khan al-Akhmar is your father's crew after all.
What he said. Besides, Dia, haven't you done more dangerous things than all of us combined? What we did is nothing compared to your experiences.
Yeah. And while they went to talk with Dakan al-Akhmar, I took a look at the last camp they attacked. Any survivors of the attack were already long gone. There was nothing of value left in the camp.
Honkai
Ah,
Impact
Hisham and Khalaf.
26 ya
You're here
berarti.
too.
Pas
We rushed
libur-
over
pas
as soon as we
liburan
saw you
berarti.
come into Caravan Rebat.
26
Although
atau
this new
16
friend of
ya?
yours looks a little green behind the ears, I'm sensing a special vibe from him.
Lupa antara dua itulah. Ya.
Now that we know you'll have a
koleksi aja lah.
capable partner with you, we can also rest easy.
Hey, what about Paimon?
Feel anything special?
Oh, you're also planning to tag along with them?
Of course! Paimon is the traveler's most important guide. Wherever he goes, Paimon will follow.
Oh, in that case, then you better take care of her too, Dia.
Don't underestimate Paimon!
Don't worry about her. She may look tiny and helpless, but she's been through just as many battles as the traveler here. Even if she had only survived on sheer luck, then that alone would still make her quite formidable.
Waduh.
I had no idea. I guess I shouldn't judge by appearances.
Oh, one other thing, Dia. When you're free, why don't you update the deputy about your upcoming schedule?
Upcoming
We held
schedule.
another recruitment event a few days ago, but everyone only came to see the Flame Main. You weren't around at the time, so people were pretty disappointed to only find our crew of rough, unkempt guys. The deputy put a lot of effort into the event, but it was basically for nothing. Only a few people chose to stay, and that really got to him.
Sorry to hear that. I'll be sure to bring him some great liquor next time. I left in a hurry and I couldn't make it back in time for the event.
Halo,
Gotta
Bung
admit,
Hiro.
I can
Halo, Mas
understand their
Bro.
disappointment, though. You're our
Belum
brigade's
kelar
main selling
questnya.
point,
Iya,
after
belum
all.
kelar questnya.
Now, if only the deputy could
Questnya
figure
belum
out a
kelar
way
ini.
to bring a few
Iya,
more
itu.
smoking hot members into our ranks.
Sekarang lagi mainin apa questnya? Belum
Keep
kelar.
dreaming. Remember
Banyak
the
banyak
last
yang belum
time I
kelar
invited a couple
quest-questnya.
gals
Kecil.
into the brigade?
Banyak yang belum kelar.
You all just froze up with your mouths
sekarang ya,
gaping like a
gimana
bunch of
kelarin
scarecrows. The awkward silence and weird expressions left quite the impression on them. They were originally interested in joining us, but after that, they both told me they were too uncomfortable to stick
Sekarang
around.
mau dihitung mau
Hey, didn't
misalkan
we
dikelarin
agree
lah
to never
quest-quest.
bring that up again?
Huh?
Belum
Wait, are you
update.
serious?
Apa?
Why have I never heard about this?
I don't think you were part of the brigade yet.
Are you kidding me? I missed a once-in-a-lifetime moment like that, and you weren't even gonna tell me?
Soalnya apa kalau quest-questan kayak gini
Alright,
nggak
alright.
pernah
We
dimainin
can tell you about it
apa nggak
later.
pernah dimainin
Now's not the
pas
time.
offline
Hey,
sih.
don't you try to change the
Apa?
subject.
Nggak pernah dimainin
You
pas
and
offline.
Hisham, get your
apa?
butts over
Maininnya
here
pas
and tell me
online.
everything right now.
Karena apa? Karena ya ngitung-ngitung adalah yang apa
Are they
buat bahan buat
always
streamingan.
like this?
More or less. There aren't many
Sayang-
rules
sayang
or
banget kalau
graces
quest
when it comes
numpuk.
to mercenaries.
Ya tapi
We're used to just
ya
speaking
walaupun
our
emang
minds.
questnya numpuk tapi
If
seenggaknya
someone starts getting
ada
under your
yang
skin, you
dilakukan
just
gitu loh
yell
apa
right
di
back at
Genshin
him.
apa di
If
Genshin
that
Impact
doesn't put
sambil
an end to
menunggu
it,
apa sambil
then
menunggu
you just challenge him to a
update
fight.
berikutnya.
But
Nggak
we
cuma
also don't tend to
diem
take
aja
many
gitu.
things too seriously.
Ya walaupun emang
Being direct and getting it
numpuk ya,
all out of your system as soon
seenggaknya
as
ya
things
ada
come
yang
up is
dilakukan sih.
better than keeping everything bottled up, never talking about it. That's also why I never spare their feelings when I talk to them. If I want to laugh, I'll laugh. If I'm angry,
Ya
then
sekarang
I'll
ya
unload on them.
kerjain lah.
It's hard to stop once you get used to it.
Tapi kalau
Though,
quest, story
I can
quest,
never do that
karakter,
when I'm with the
ini
Homiyanis.
siapa namanya?
Hey,
Dehi-
knuckleheads,
tinggal Dehi ya.
can you at least tell me
Untuk
the
apa?
rest of
Untuk
the
story
intel
quest tinggal
before
Dehi
you go
ya.
back to your bickering?
Tapi kalau world
Yeah,
quest
you hear her, Holloff?
ada dua yang
Told
belum.
you we gotta focus on the
World
investigation
quest ada dua
first.
yang belum, tapi story quest ya tinggal Dehi doang ini. Kalau yang di
I
sini,
drew up a map.
di sini.
Right here's the spot. All you gotta do is wait and ambush them in the evening. They'll have no idea what hit them.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Be sure to pass my
Ada
regards
notif
to
merah
everyone
aja
else in the
tangan
brigade as well.
tangan
Will do.
gatal tangan
You
gue
stay
bang.
safe, Dia.
Notif merah atau notif kuning? Oh, loh, balik sini. Notif merah atau notif kuning? Oh merah, emang notifnya merah ya? Kan saya bilang notifnya kuning. Oke, iya skip ya udahlah.
This should be the place. Let's find a spot to hide
Iya,
and bide
iya.
our time.
Nah, kalau misalnya itu
It's gonna come down to a fight one way or another. So let's all be careful.
No need to worry. He knows his way
banner
around the
berikutnya
fight.
kan fase pertama si itu apa si
I'm not worried about that.
apa tuh
What I
namanya?
meant is that we
Si
probably shouldn't go too hard
Nilo
on the enemy.
sama
After
itu ya,
all,
Nilo
we
sama
still need to get
Nahida.
information out of them.
Gue pengen siapa namanya band apa weaponnya Nahida, weapon bintang 5 Nahida, ingin banget.
Here they come. You ready?
Tapi susah
Let's not give
dapetinnya
them a
nih.
chance to react
Kurang.
and end this quickly.
Primonya kurang. Ya sama aja, kuning juga. Oke, kita pakai deh. Iya, nice.
I see everything.
Try to keep up. With that.
Inputnya. Agak nge-lag inputnya.
You're the flame main.
Inputnya
Good.
agak nge-lag.
That saves me an introduction. All right, time for a little talk. Are you buddies with Dakana Lakmar now? Tell me, what are they after?
You know the code
Saya
of being
tabung
a
gacha
mercenary
sampai
just
Yula
like
keluar,
everyone
Bang.
else. The first rule
Wah,
is to
lama
never
sekali berarti baru.
divulge key
Apa
information
namanya,
about
Yula
our
keluar
employer.
itu di 3.
What makes you think I'd talk?
That might have worked on an
Update
amateur,
apa ya?
but I know you're
3
just
titik.
looking to protect your reputation.
Pokoknya apa?
Think about it,
Dehia
though.
apa Yula
What's your
keluarnya
reputation
setelah
worth
update
if you won't
berikutnya.
have the other tools you need to
Berarti
succeed in this line
masih
of
lama
work?
banget berarti itu.
Tools
keluarnya,
like,
Mas Bro.
I don't know, your limbs or eyes. You've got 5 seconds. You might want to
Di
think
bulan
twice
Juni
about how
paling
much
itu
your
ntar apa
employer's
sih Yula baru
information
keluar.
is worth to you.
Di bulan Juni Mas Bro, itunya Yula keluar. Apa? Masih 1 bulan lagi. Masih 2 bulan lagi
I'm
sih
not
lebih tepat.
joking around. We can
Masih
do this
2
the
bulan
easy
lagi.
way
Masih lama
or the
banget.
painful way. 2 seconds.
60 apa? 60
I'll save you the trouble.
60 hari sih.
Huh? Are you
Save,
crazy?
save sampai kalau bisa
He
C1.
tried to
Wih,
bite off his own
asik.
tongue.
Ngeri sekali.
Quick, search the
Save sampai
area for
C1.
any
Mantap,
first
mantap.
aid supplies.
Mantap. C1 ya.
I definitely didn't expect him to go that far. Thankfully, the wound wasn't too deep.
C1.
And he just passed out from the pain.
Why would he be so extreme?
I just wanted to test his mettle. You can get a
C1,
lot of
C1.
mercenaries to talk just by threatening them.
Yula C1.
I didn't expect him to be willing to
Bisa
go
deh, lo
through so
nyimpen
much pain just to
sampai
deny
berapa
us
primo
some
lo?
intel.
Sampai itu 32 kah
We could
primonya
wait for him to wake
disimpan.
up, but maybe it's not a good idea to
Jaga-jaga.
interrogate him any further.
Sampai 3 bisa nyimpan sampai
What should we
32.
do?
Ya, nyampe-nyampe aja sih.
Don't worry about
peribahasanya.
it.
Kalau saya
It'll be a
sampai
waste of
nanti
time
bulan
to
apa?
interrogate him
Bulan
again after
Januari.
that. He
Januari.
might just hurt himself
Sampai bulan
again if we
Juni.
start asking.
Bisa-bisa aja sih.
There are
Risetnya
lots of
habis
goods
gitu.
around here. Let's search the area.
Tapi kok,
Maybe we'll be able to
kenapa
find something.
ada geluduk? Seperti mau hujan nih.
I'm
kawan.
really sorry.
Seperti mau hujan. Satar lagi namanya.
We found a piece of paper with a
Elemental
bunch
Master.
of names on it.
Nyari weapon yang
Maybe it's a
ada
ring or
elemental
something.
master lagi sih.
Let me take a look. If this really is a merchant caravan, they should have.
Guys,
Yep.
semoga
I see an entry
apa
for
tuh,
Dakana Lakmar right
emblem
here.
of Super Pet
Kusela,
di 4.0
Idrizi,
bisa
Bashar,
di
and
barter ya.
Takriti.
Apa?
All familiar names.
Soalnya sih udah bisa di barter
Dakana
sih,
Lakmar
di
has been
Super
trading
Pet.
for a hefty supply of
Please lah,
food,
bisa di barter
weapons,
lah.
and medicine.
Jadi nggak
It
perlu
seems
capek-capek
that in
itu
the
lagi
past,
farming
they used to
sono.
receive some canned knowledge as well. This caravan is just one link in their logistics chain.
Tapi
Once in the rainforest, the caravan will
gacha ya
exchange
itunya,
the
apa
looted
namanya,
goods for Mora,
untuk artefak
and
yang
the
baru,
funds will then
untuk
be
update
passed to a
berikutnya.
specific person.
Kalau
That
misalnya
person will
dapat
then
apa tuh
pack the
dapat
caravan
si
full of necessary goods,
misalnya dapat
which
si
will then be
itu apa
brought right
namanya?
back to
Dapat
Dakana
si
Lakmar. Wait,
kafe,
why is there no Mora
Coba
value
deh, gitu
recorded
apa?
for the
Weapon
final
apa?
transaction?
artefak yang baru.
No value?
Tapi kafe masih lama banget.
Yeah, every transaction before the last one was marked with an exact amount of Mora, but the final one, where they paid for everything to be brought back to the
Cafe.
desert, was simply marked as delivered.
Kafe,
Perhaps.
masih lama sih kafe.
But they couldn't have known how much they would make off selling the loot. Do they not care about profit margins at all? Anyway, the next part's the
Anyway.
records of the goods themselves. There are a lot of entries. Everything was probably sourced from the rainforest.
Rainforest.
Huh?
What's wrong?
Shazaman Homayani?
Homoyani? You mean Dinyarzad's family?
Staff of Homa.
Could it just be another family with the same last name?
I'd be surprised to find someone with the exact same first and last name. Shazamon Homayani is Dunyarzad's father, and the head of the Homayani family. Just what the heck is going on here? I'm sorry, you're right. I'll consider what we found and not jump to conclusions just yet. But what this piece of paper confirms is that the Homayani family has been providing goods to Dakana Lakmar.
What if the Homayanis have been kept in the dark and don't know they've been trading with Dakana Lakmar?
That's a possibility, but if that was the case, why is this caravan specifically named Shazamon as their person of contact? They could have just as easily bought goods such as food and medicine directly from Caravan Rebot or Port Ormos.
Itunya apa? Kemampuannya, karakternya.
Yeah, funding violence and looting.
Bagus.
The brigade gets the goods, and he is paid the proceeds from the sale of the loot.
But
Why?
why would he do something like this? It's not like the Homayanis are in need of money.
Kau usah damage bisa dapat lebih
I
tinggi aja.
honestly have no idea. I've been to their estate
Enak
many
kali.
times, and I've never noticed anything
Keren
suspicious.
banget
The
potensial.
only potentially large expenditure I could think of would be the treatment costs for Dunyarzad's Elazar.
Agak terbuang.
Maybe they borrowed a lot of Mora in the past, but that's still just a speculation. I don't think the master would stoop so low to make Mora. You're probably right. I know my lady's personality, and she wouldn't deliberately keep something like this from us.
Iya deh ya.
What should we do now? All we found is just another mystery.
If you ask me,
Kalau
we
misalnya
already
benar
have
gua
no
ngebaca
choice but
lagi,
to
berarti
confront her about
skip
this.
berapa lama kali itu video?
I'm not worried. It's too early to make a verdict yet.
Karakternya.
I still have faith in the Homayanis. Let's go find my lady again.
Nyampe
We'll tell her everything
4.0
and see if she's willing to lend us her
Wah,
support.
save-nya banyak sekali itu berarti.
If we're lucky,
Ya,
we can not only
tapi
figure
ya,
out the mystery
dari
of this
rumor-rumor
paper,
yang ada,
but also follow
itu
the trail
siapa
of
namanya?
breadcrumbs to the people
Ala
responsible
hitam
at
belum
Dakana
ada.
Lakmar.
belum ada kabar rumor-rumor
Iya.
untuk Riran
Are
lagi
you
sih.
sure this is the best decision?
Yang emang ada masalah sih.
Instead of
Save-nya
getting
masih
the
bisa
help
lebih
we
banyak.
need, we just end up revealing everything we've discovered to the enemy.
I've considered that possibility,
Weapon.
but
butuh
even
weapon
still,
ya.
I want to
Weapon
tell her what we
Nahida.
found. I think I
Aduh,
owe her that
agak
much.
deg-degan juga sih
True
dapetin
friendship
weapon
is
Nahida.
built on trust.
Agak
She
deg-degan
showed
untuk bisa
genuine
dapetin
concern
weapon
for me
Nahida.
when we first brought up the topic.
Apa itu?
I can't repay her kindness with doubt and
Fight
suspicion.
untuk bisa gacha weapon
That's not
bahannya
how I
baru
deal with people.
56.
You're right.
Padahal baru banget
To
dapat
trust
bintang 5.
Dunyarzad too.
Saya dapetin juga susahnya setengah mati kayaknya.
Yeah.
Mau
Let's
pakai
pay another
duit.
visit to Sumeru
Spend duit
City.
1,5 juta. Mikir dulu 1,5 juta. Kalau semua di spend hanya untuk demi dapetin weapon. Oh, soalnya itu mengincar elemental mastery-nya sih, cuma itu doang. Halo Bung Fal, halo. Sebetulnya. Jarang pakai facecam lagi sekarang Bang. Oh enggak. Facecam masih tetap pakai kok. Facecam masih tetap pakai. Tapi ya apa namanya? Untuk sekarang emang sengaja ya untuk sekarang emang sengaja nggak pakai facecam karena
We're back, my
ini
lady.
apa? Sekarang itu
Oh, you're back a lot sooner than I
Masalah dia.
expected.
kalau misalnya
You mustn't have
Genshin
run into
Impact
any
itu
trouble then.
di guanya sekarang
Well,
live-nya itu lagi
how did it
ngejalanin
go? What did you come
story
up with?
lah ya, lagi ngejalanin story
Actually,
mau itu
we're
Archon
still
Quest
investigating. It's
sama
just
apa termasuk
that
Archon Quest sama
we've
apa tuh story
discovered
quest
something
karakter.
strange.
Gue sengaja
see.
nggak pakai apa, gue nggak
The
pakai
clues you
face,
found
gue
have led
sengaja
you
nggak
back
pakai
here
facecam
in the city.
karena apa
Something like
karena
that. Yeah,
tujuannya itu
You
adalah
all look a little
untuk
dispirited.
apa ngerekam
Whatever you found must
video
not have been
untuk
very
bahan short.
encouraging after all. Why don't you just
Gitu,
sit
jadi
with me?
apa
Maybe I'll be
di
able to
YouTube gua kan
say
apa
something to
namanya
cheer
kan
you up.
pakai apa bukan pakai ya,
it's okay,
ngebuat
my lady.
short lah
It's
buat
not
short
so
dengan
much
dari
about me being
ya
upset with
potongan
my
potongan
father or
cutscene dari
anything like
Genshin
that.
lah ya potong-potongan apa
How should
dari
I put
Genshin
this?
cutscene-nya
So
itu
something is wrong.
nah
Even
gue
the
enaknya
traveler
itu misalnya ada
Paimon
cutscene yang
had
bagus nih ada
uncharacteristically
cutscene yang
quiet.
bagus
On any other
nah
day,
tau-taunya
Paimon
apa
would have
di
already
bagian
waved to me
cutscene
with
yang
a
bisa yang
smile
biasa
and
gue
shouted,
potong itu
"Turn
ada
yours on.
gambar
We're
muka
back."
gue gitu kan jadinya apa
So
kayak
tell me,
nggak
what happened?
apa kayak ganggu gitu loh kayak ganggu gitu kasarnya.
Well,
Jadi mungkin ya
My lady,
untuk sekarang
please prepare yourself for
apa
what we're going to
namanya,
tell you
emang
next.
pakai facecam
It concerns
apa
the
bukan pakai
master.
facecam apa nggak pakai
The
facecam dulu
master.
kok ngerekam. Nah kecuali kalau
You
misalnya gua
mean
live stream
my
tapi
father?
posisinya ya hanya
Okay.
main atau farming
I
aja,
understand.
ya itu apa
don't worry about me.
nggak
I'll
bukan
listen
nggak ya
as attentively
facecam
as I
nyala
can.
kalau misalnya emang lagi nggak ngerekam gitu, tapi sekarang
My
ya
father
sorry menyori aja
Has been supplying goods
lagi
to
ngerekam
Dakan
gini
al
jadi ya
Akmar.
nggak pakai
Yeah.
facecam, sorry
It
aja.
makes as little sense
Tapi
to us
nanti
as it does to
tetap
you.
pakai facecam kok, tetap pakai
I've never
facecam.
doubted the master's
Tapi sekarang
integrity,
emang nggak lagi
so I'm
nggak
having
lagi
a
pakai
real
facecam
hard
dulu.
time rationalizing
Jadi
how he
seperti
could
itulah,
ever
Bung
support
Fal.
an infamous brigade like them. Maybe he's not actually aware of the full story and just stumbled into the deal by accident.
Ya mungkin nanti kalau di live stream ke depannya kalau memang nggak
I
ada
can't help
nggak
but
apa lagi
agree with the
nggak story
traveler.
baru
Huh?
apa
You mean you feel the
Nyari
same
facecam
way,
lagi.
Junior Zod?
Thank you for sharing all this information with me. Since you've told me everything you know, I should also tell you about some doubts that I've been harboring for quite a while.
tapi
In the past,
dibanding itu
I thought that my
thank you
father
ya Mas
hired
Bro
a
ya
bodyguard
udah
for
mampir
me
ya,
so
thank you ya Masku ya
that
udah
I wouldn't
mampir.
run away and get
Thank you.
lost. However, there are plenty of capable mercenaries in the Corps of 30. Why did my father go out of his way to hire Dia?
About that, well,
Bung Fal,
the
di update
Homeyanis
berikutnya ada
really
yang mau
needed
digacha nggak?
bodyguards, so
Karakter
they
atau
reached
weapon
out
gitu
to the Blazing Beasts.
di update Genshin berikutnya.
Later, the master told me that I was one of the best mercenaries he'd ever seen,
Apa mumpung update
and that I
berikutnya
should
ada
stick
Nahida
around to
sama
become one of his
Nilo
bodyguards.
dan Baizu
He offered me a
sama
pile of
apa
Mora,
tuh
so
sama si
I
Ganyu.
just signed on.
Apakah ada yang mau
Well,
digacha
but that
dari
didn't really
keempat
answer my
karakter itu?
question. Just
Atau mungkin di
think
save
about
aja
it.
untuk berikutnya?
Why did my father specifically reach out to the Blazing Beasts?
Maybe the Corps of 30 just didn't have anyone available, or maybe someone recommended us. I've never given it too much thought. I think I get what you're saying. You think none of this was a coincidence.
Precisely. At first glance, nothing seems strange or out of place. But there are many parts of the story that don't actually make any sense. If my father had always been in contact with Dakan al Akmar, then it would make sense for him to bring Dia into our house.
You mean the goal all along was to get Dia to be your bodyguard?
No, that's too much of a stretch. I cut all ties with my father a long time ago. He has no control over my life anymore.
But that still doesn't rule out the possibility that your father has still been trying to influence your life without you knowing.
So, the master was not likely an innocent victim in all of this?
Sorry we put all this on you so suddenly, Junior Zod.
It's okay, Paimon. I should actually be thanking you.
Mendung.
Regardless of his reasons, if my father has truly been
hujan.
funding a violent group of
Sinyal agak ngedrop
mercenaries, then it's my duty to bring him back to reason.
Memang hujan.
But is that really the right thing to do? My father has committed many atrocities and deserves all the punishment that he has coming to him. I have zero sympathy for him. You may call me an ungrateful child, but my feelings will remain the same. However, the Homayani family has treated me with nothing
Homayani
but
family.
generosity and kindness. If we decide to investigate this further, we could end up implicating the entire Homayani family. I would be biting the hand that's fed me over all these years.
Dia?
It's alright, Dia. If anyone were to ask, you could always just say that
Farming
I'm
apa
the
enakan
one
ya?
who instructed
Di
you to get to the
lempeng-lempengnya.
bottom of this.
You don't have to do that, my lady. I'm not conflicted because I'm afraid of taking responsibility.
Artefak kali.
Besides, you're the one we should all be worried about right now.
Hey!
Farming
It's still
artifact
too
kali.
early to give up hope! What was that thing about friendship again? Right, yeah, trust! You said that yourself, Dia! Besides, there's no point on getting all riled up before we've confirmed all the facts!
Thank you, everyone. That makes a lot of sense. I guess I should always remember the trust that I've placed in people. In which case, my lady, could you ask the master to come out and have a chat with us?
Sure thing. I also hope he'll be able to give us a logical explanation. Let's meet at the usual place then.
Usual place? Ah, right!
Ngepost apa lagi yang seru ya? Ngepost berita buat karakter kali ya. Oh ini nih filosofis, bikin karakter. Waduh, geledek terus. Oh ya, filosofis. Post lah. Oke, sekarang mungkin udah saatnya mengepost untuk Raiden Shogun sama itunya apa namanya, sama si Yaimiko karakternya yang perlu dipush.
Thank you for coming, sir. Please allow me to introduce these two. This is the traveler, and next to him is his travel companion, Paimon.
Ah, yes, my daughter has mentioned them from time to time.
Alhamdulillah,
It's a
dapat
privilege to
puasa.
finally meet them in person.
Mas, ini masih setengah
we
jam
may
lagi, Mas
skip
Bro.
all the
Belum
pleasantries for
waktunya
now.
buat buka puasa.
What is the
Buat
important
Indonesia-
matter
apa,
you wish
waktu
to
Indonesia
discuss with
Barat.
me today?
Well,
Dikit
we
lagi,
wanted to bring this
setengah jam lagi
transaction
baru
record
buka.
to your
Setengah jam
attention.
lagi, setengah jam lagi.
There's
Belum
something
siap,
on this
setengah jam lagi
record that
buat buka.
we're all pretty curious about.
Setengah jam
So,
lagi untuk
that's what you found.
Indonesia bagian barat.
Seems,
If you wouldn't mind, we'd like an explanation.
well, it's a long and difficult story. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing.
Sama.
What I do know, though, dear, is that the truth will bring you no solace. If anything, it will likely cause you a great amount of anguish.
Wait, me?
Yes, I understand perfectly why you came to see me, and I am touched by your collective commitment to do the right thing. But knowledge always comes at a price, and sometimes, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Your father, Kusela, and I both believed that. Of course, you have the right to seek and learn the
Suara
truth, but
in-game-nya terlalu besar
I
daripada
must
suara
warn
lu,
you.
Bang. Oh,
the facts of
kemudian.
this matter may reduce
iya nih.
everything you've built for
Boosting
yourself into
suaranya.
sand, blowing in the wind.
Sorry kalau
If you
suara terlalu
must
di boosting.
proceed, then
Sorry.
Kusela's heartfelt efforts will
Ada
also
kalau
fade
suara
into the
terlalu di
wind like
boosting.
a
Sorry.
fleeting mirage.
Emang lagi rekaman.
His
Sorry.
heartfelt efforts. I'm sorry, sir, but
Sorry, Mas.
I'm not
Sorry.
sure I follow. I've made it this far
Wah,
in life
hujan
without a
berangin.
single
Gawat.
drop of my father's support. I have my own
Ya.
ideals and ways of looking at the world, as well as people and causes that I've chosen to
Setengah jam
cherish
lagi
and fight
baru
for.
bisa buka
None
puasa.
of these things have
Setengah
anything
jam
to do
lagi
with him.
baru bisa buka
I
puasa.
came here today to support you as the head of the
Oh iya, gue mau
Homiyani
itu deh apa?
family.
Gua
No
mau keluarin
warning will change
teh
my
dulu
stance
yang
on
di
that.
kulkas biar nggak terlalu dingin.
I understand. Then let me tell you a little story. Our family once needed to take a trip to the desert when Dunyarzad was just a baby. Along the way, we were attacked by bandits. They had superior numbers and quickly overpowered our bodyguards. When all seemed lost, a group of passerby Eremites lent us their support. Those Eremites were Kusela's brigade, Doakan al-Ahmar. Kusela's men told me that the attackers were Eremite mercenaries, just like themselves. I was shocked.
Hujan MASKU,
Why
MASKU
would
semuanya
Doakan
hujan.
al-Ahmar go so far to save us and not spare the fellow Eremites? Kusela was grinning and walked
Kusela.
over to play with baby Dunyarzad. She was startled by his unfamiliar face and nearly started crying.
Really? I never knew.
He said that he had no particular reason to help us. He just took pity on us because he had a daughter about the same age. We started talking about our children, and I sensed that he was a devoted father. To repay his kindness, I hired his brigade to help out at our estate
Seperti
for
aku
a time
kehilangan
and
sen
offered everyone generous
agak penting.
remuneration.
So, that's what happened.
It was many years before I saw him again. I almost didn't recognize him the next time he came knocking on my door. The man I knew to be strong and healthy had been reduced to a shell of himself.
Kane.
He couldn't even walk anymore without his cane.
So, what happened to him? He was perfectly fine when I left the brigade.
I'm not too sure myself. The only thing that didn't change was his cheery disposition. He said there was absolutely nothing to worry about and that he had gotten into a fight. That was all. He then suddenly asked me if Dunyarzad, now that she had grown, would need a bodyguard of her own. at the time, Dunyarzad was going through a particularly severe bout of her Elazar. There was no need for her to have a bodyguard when she could barely leave the house. But he kept coming back to the topic. Come on, it never hurts to be safe. How do you know a bodyguard won't come in handy one day? I was completely lost at first, until he recommended the Blazing Beasts, and in particular, a mercenary named Dia.
So he was the one who recommended Dia to you.
Indeed. He didn't say it out loud, but it was clear that he saw Deshret's relics as an evil group who would eventually corrupt every member in their ranks. He was already beyond redemption, but he hoped that he would be able to detach his daughter from the vicious world of mercenary life. If Dia could stay in my house and keep working as a bodyguard, then gradually her affinity for the desert would decrease, and she'd be able to leave her previous life behind.
And that's why you offered her such generous compensation?
Compensation.
Yes, but not just because of that. From the moment that he asked me for that favor, I also began to see Dia as my own daughter. And that's also why I tried to persuade you to stay when you asked for permission to leave. I was willing to spend however much it took. Kusela saved my daughter and I all those years ago in the desert. I could never refuse him entrusting his daughter to me.
He was always like that, acting like he's oh so smart and self-righteous.
Kusela said that he'd reimburse me for a portion of Dia's fees. I refused to take any Mora from him, but he'd always send me funds anyway. Eventually, I just accepted them as a token of his gratitude. And that went on for a while until I received another letter from him a few years ago. The letter contained a request to help him buy food, weapons, medicine, and even explosive materials.
Wait! Isn't that around the time that Dakan al-Akhbar started becoming more aggressive?
That's right. When I started to hear some nasty rumors, I became wary. I wanted to meet him face to face to discuss things. But by then, he was no longer receptive to my requests to talk. If I had to guess, it's probably because he doesn't want to put Dia at risk.
Same token.
That thought occurred to me as well. I figured that he probably came to me for help because he had nobody else to turn to. After some deliberation, I decided to send him some food and medicine. I turned down all his requests for explosives and weaponry. I am aware that even such a reduced gesture of support could lead to others coming to harm, but I could not simply reject his plea for help. In the end, it probably was the wrong decision. I plugged my ears to the rumors and just chose a solution that made me feel least guilty about myself.
If you can, please tell me where he is now. None of the things he's doing right now make any sense if he's just trying to keep me from getting tangled up in his world. If all he wants to do is steer clear of me, then maybe he shouldn't have brought me into this world in the first place.
Oh no. Dia, please don't feel that way.
I'm just angry because I can't wrap my head around any of his actions.
One more time.
Way? I don't know. I knew him and he was nothing more than a childish brute. I can't understand what's going through his head. But I guess you do have a point. We haven't uncovered the whole truth yet. We still need to figure out his exact actions and reasoning for these last few years.
I'll do my best to help. Of course, anything between the two of you would need to be resolved between you and him alone. I don't know Kusela's exact whereabouts. Outside of supplying his brigade with some goods, I tried my best to avoid getting involved any further with him. However, there's a man on the list named Jawed. He used to be a mercenary. He's responsible for supplying. I've heard that he liked...
Understood. Thank you, sir.
I'll stay and be with my father here. To be honest, I'm still a little dazed and haven't finished. My father has indeed done something wrong. I feel like our only course of action is to turn everything we know.
Yes, I am. It's time to face my mistakes.
Face your mistakes. At night. Tapi malam. Oke. Jangan sampai nyentuh midnight berarti ya. Wah, jawat, nemu.
Huh? Who are you guys?
I know what you've been up to. Smuggling weapons to violent brigades in the desert while working for the Corps. Pretty bold, if you ask me.
Shh. Keep your voice down. How do you know all that? Come with me. We should take this elsewhere. I'll be happy to talk things over once we're somewhere private.
Ooh, nice angle.
This place should do. Alright. Back to my question. How did you all know about me?
Don't worry about that for now. You know what kind of punishment you'll face once we report you to the Corps, I assume.
Wait. There's no need to jump the gun. Let's talk this out. What are your terms?
Hujan geledek terus dan antara minum hangat enak sih.
In it for you
Lagi
anyway,
minum hangat.
Mora?
Well, I was a little tight on money at the time. Kecil took good care of me in the past. I waited in my mind, and I couldn't find a reason to turn the opportunity down. I wouldn't only be helping my benefactor, but I could also make some quick mora.
Let me tell you how it is. We're investigating doakan al-Akmar, and we're gonna put an end to their operations. If you provide some help for us, then we might just put in a good word later to reduce the terms of your punishment.
Hey, why don't we discuss this a little first? Listen, I made quite a bit of mora from my last run. Just give me a number, and I'm sure we can...
Shut it. My patience is running out. You should know when a mercenary is after something other than money.
All right, sheesh. But you gotta promise you'll put in some nice words for me later. They're always on the move. Here's the spot they were at the last time I made my delivery to the desert. Feel free to go have a look. I'm just telling you though, it's not on me if they're not there anymore.
Sure. And then you can forget about any nice words from us.
Hey, come on. Now you're just being unreasonable.
Really? And how do I know you're not leading us straight into a trap? Don't forget.
All right, I get it. Why don't you go take a look, and if they're not there anymore, I'll try to figure out something else for y'all.
Now that's more like it. Let's move. And as for you, try to stick around the city until we get back. You don't want us to call the folks from the Corps and have them drag you back to the city.
Dia nyusut. Oke. Oh, di sini. Ya, seperti yang terlalu jauh lah ya. Hujan. Kuki kangkung.
You're seeing my shoes.
Aduh, salah tarik. Ya udahlah.
Seems like we're in luck. That should be their camp right up ahead. Let's go. We'll finally get to the bottom of this ourselves.
Oke, waktu berperang.
I'm here to see Kusela. Tell him to get out here.
Yeah. Why are you here?
Here you are. The process of elimination.
Right now. Emerge.
Alright,
Right here.
Haven't you all done enough?
So are you also here to stop us?
Stay out of this. It's got nothing to do with you.
Thank you, Alrighten.
No, she's so strong.
Enough fighting. We all know each other, and I don't want to take things too far. Just bring Kusela to me. There's no use hiding him anymore. Did you understand a single word I just said? Or do I need to bash your skull in some more?
All right, everyone, let's all just calm down for a second. Dia, the boss can't come out and see you anymore. He died a long time ago.
What?
Seems like you've been out of the loop for a while. Guess that's for the best, though. At least, that's what the old man wanted.
When did he die? What happened to him?
A few years ago, Kusela broke up doakan al-Ahmar and went to the Deshret's Relics headquarters by himself.
So is that when you guys started acting up?
We would prefer to call it taking revenge. Every last person in Deshret's Relics must pay in blood for what they did.
Let me start from the beginning. Dia, do you know how the head of the Relics maintained order internally?
Overwhelming strength and unquestionable authority?
Those were a part of it, yes. But just those on their own weren't enough. They had another tool at their disposal. They called it a person's record. Regardless of whether they joined by their own will or were coerced, every person in Deshret's Relics were forced to leave a record of themselves at headquarters. Whether it be their deepest sin, some unforgivable act, or their most immoral exploit, the record served both as a symbol of loyalty and the perfect material for blackmail. That's precisely it. Every one of us have a record. Me, Bashar, Tikriti, and all the boys who grew up with Dia and ended up joining our ranks. But you, Dia, you were never asked to provide a record, were you?
I never even knew this was a requirement.
You were probably the only person in all of Deshret's Relics who didn't know about it.
Ever since you were born, Boss had been trying to shield you from this organization's sinister rules. Not only that, but he also banned all of us from committing any nefarious acts. He said he'd take care of the dues we had to pay regularly to headquarters. But in the end, he was just an ordinary person. What could he do? He was forced to go to headquarters again and again to account for missed dues and incomplete records. He'd come up with all kinds of excuses and get beaten up as a result.
We all knew he was doing that for you. He wanted to get you out of this world, no matter what it took.
And that's why he became a shell of himself and couldn't walk without a cane.
Wait, but that doesn't make any sense. I didn't know about any of this, and I'd never seen him get injured or beaten.
Because you were too young at the time. How would you ever tell between wounds from a beating and wounds from battle? When you left home after that final argument with him, he seemed to age by a decade overnight. Even his hair went gray.
So, even the blazing beasts were...
Yep. It was all his doing. Had he not arranged them to come to you, you probably would have been reduced to a pulp before you ever left the desert.
A few years ago, Boss said he needed to make another trip to headquarters. He was already pretty weak then, and we all assumed he was going to get beaten again. I suggested that he hand the role of leadership over to me, but he said there was no longer any need, since the Khan al-Ahmar would soon be no more. His words made no sense to me, but that night, we heard that a massive fire tore through headquarters and razed everyone's records to ash.
Everyone gained their freedom that night. Many members fled, not just from our ranks, but from the other brigades as well. But how could we leave with a clear conscience? All of us who knew exactly what had happened.
The boss can't have just died for nothing. Those heartless jerks at headquarters took him from us.
From that point on, the sole purpose of the Khan al-Ahmar became revenge. The big fire that Boss started was quite a blow to headquarters' strength. It's given us the opportunity to launch our attack. Even though we're outnumbered, we vowed to see our revenge through to the very end. There were people from headquarters who changed their names and went into hiding. Some fled to other brigades, and others escaped to the rainforest. but we won't let any of them escape our wrath. They'll all pay for what they've done.
We've suffered plenty of losses as well. To keep going, we need an enormous amount of supplies, from food and medicine to weaponry and explosives. All we can do is exchange our loot from Mora, and then use that to get supplies. We forged Boss's handwriting and sent out many letters to his former friends. Thankfully, many people were willing to come to our aid. We were also able to attract many mercenaries who shared our goal. We've endured unspeakable pain to win many impossible battles. Deshret's relics have become weaker and weaker, and now we finally have an opportunity to directly strike their headquarters.
Paimon doesn't know what to say anymore.
We do know right from wrong, but we were sinners from the very beginning. We do not deserve the freedom that the boss won for us with his life. Boss always loved his old-fashioned hero stories. Those tales about sacrificing yourself to save the world. We used to always laugh at him for it. But in the end, he really went and lived those stories out himself. As for me, I never considered myself a hero. We're all the lowest of the low. We have no right to even imagine such an existence. But maybe those hero stories he liked foreshadowed everything that was to come. The spirit of the hero touched all those he had saved, and more people joined his cause. Maybe we were all just acting along with the play in the beginning. But as we acted the parts and recited the lines,
sebentar lagi sepertinya sudah mau buka. Hah?
And now, we want to see the story through to the end. I'm sorry, dear.
Iya.
I know you always found us insufferable ever since you were young. Just think of this as a madman ranting.
Iya. Sorry ya Masku ya, ini jadi malah jadi ngobrol celana malah jadinya.
Dia? You wanna go with them?
Aduh,
I
ngobrol
grew up with
celana.
these guys,
Ngobrol
and
celana.
I know they're not bad people. It's just that some situations
Bentar
get so
lagi.
bad.
3 menit lagi lah ya, berarti baru buka lah ya.
All I know is that Deshret's relics must be destroyed.
Udah aja nah gitu.
Furthermore,
Lagi
I
dengeran.
want to go see the place
Begitu
for
panujang.
myself. I want to know if my father is still there. I know you don't want to get involved in this, so there's no need for you to tag along. I can do this on my own.
Yeah. Paimon feels like we'd only regret it if we don't see this through to the end.
Oke, udah ajan. Sepertinya sudah ajan.
Thank you. We'll be a lot stronger together with you.
Pas lah.
I bet Boss would lose his mind if he ever knew you'd join us at the very last moment. Like,
Considering all the losses and injuries we sustained.
He can think whatever he wants. But the fact is, I owe him this much.
Oke. Mantap seluruh. Quest. Oke. Ada nggak suaranya kan? Oke. Masku semuanya. Karena seperti waktu saya menunjukkan untuk berbuka puasa. Jadi karena itu untuk live streamnya kali ini cukup sampai sini aja dulu. Atau ya nanti antara nanti malam atau jadi atau enggak mungkin lanjutin ini. Tapi ya nggak tahu lah. Kita lihat aja nanti mungkin ya. Oke. Terima kasih banyak yang sudah menonton ya. Jangan lupa like, share, dan subscribe ya. Dan juga yang sudah waktunya berbuka puasa. Selamat berbuka puasa untuk kalian jika misalnya emang berpuasa ya. Oke. Sampai jumpa ya di live stream yang selanjutnya ya. Thank you. Kucing gue udah nyampe.